moving on to the next process, sequencing the activities. Okay, what do we have here? This process mostly focuses on relating and linking the project activities. And please mind that this is done throughout the project. Unlike the previous one that I mentioned, this is not done just at one point of time or pre-decided time frame. This sequencing is done like throughout the project from start through end. So what are we going to achieve with this? We are going to improve the efficiency of the activities. So if we choose the sequence of the activities to be in one particular direction, we are going to achieve more efficiency than otherwise. So let us learn about this in this process. Outputs. So at the end of the activities, these should be our goals or the targets to finish. The project schedule network diagram. What does it sounds really scary here, but this is nothing but the critical path method. So if you remember, I have drawn that there are 6 activities identified, and then from start to end, what is the longest path? So the longest path is important because that is the worst case that could happen for the project, right? So always the critical path is chosen. So this kind of diagram is called the network diagram. So this sequencing will help us in creating it. And then the project document updates. What could be the document that we can update here? We can update activity attributes, we can update the assumptions log, we can update the milestones list, activity list. All these things can be updated as the project document updates. After we finish it, all these documents will be updated. What do we have as inputs for this? The project management plan. Of course, everything project management plan is an input. Again, project documents, whatever documents that we are going to update here, we have to gather them as inputs in the current state. And of course, these two goes without saying. We have enterprise environmental factors, internal factors, external factors again, and the organizational process assets. The traditions, the mindset of the organization or the rules of the organization. We have to carry it in every process, right? We cannot negotiate or we cannot contradict what our organization believes in. Okay, what tools and techniques we have? Precedence diagram method. This precedence diagram method is also a very interesting one. What do we have here is we have a start to start, start to finish, finish to start, finish to finish. I know I sound crazy, but imagine we have a task A, and on the left side, bear with my drawing skills, this is called the start of the activity, and this is called the finish of the activity. Consider this as a activity block. So what happens here? We have 4 precedence diagram methods. What is this precedence diagram? We have the first activity and we have the second activity. Let's say activity A and activity B. And as we have learned here, the left line is called the start and right line is called the finish of the activity. So when we link the finish of the activity to the start of the next activity, so what does it mean? The activity B can start only after A is finished, right? So this is called the precedence diagram. So B or A has a precedence for B. So we have 4 such methods. There are 4 possibilities that we can link these 2 blocks. Again, the same block A and block B. So when we link the start to start, that is one precedence diagram. Similarly, we have discussed the finish to start, that is one method. How else can we link? From the start to finish or from finish to finish. So these 4 possibilities are there. So these 4 precedency diagrams can be used as the tools and techniques for the sequencing. Dependency, determination, and integration. So what are we talking about here? Dependency, determination, and integration. These are all mandatory, discretional, all the external activities which we have no control, and we can. I think you know what I'm trying to say here. On what activities are we dependent on? So we are dependent on legal requirements. We are dependent on discretionary requirements. What do we mean by discretionary? These are the best practices. So what and all activities we are dependent on, that we have to identify. Leads and lags. What does lead mean? Lead could be anything that is prior to the target, and lag, that is anything that can happen after the target. Like again, if I make use of the activity diagram, we have a project A, which is done in 12, I said project, a process A, which is done for 12 weeks, and process B, which is done for 10 weeks. Now, if we have a link that from finish to start, so for B to start, we have a link that A has to be finished, and A has lead of 2 weeks. It means instead of 12, it can be completed in just 10 weeks. So the B can start 2 weeks earlier. I think I make sense now. So similarly, lag. Lag means instead of 12 weeks, this activity is completed in 14 weeks. Right? So what is the lag here? 14 minus 12, 2. So 2 weeks of lag. So in this way, we can estimate that B can only start in the worst case after 14 weeks only. These techniques are important. So that is this leads and lags. And then we have the PMIS. We discussed about the project management information system.